Wow. Guys, 5-0 in a final. I mean, big up Reluctant Killer. I said 2-1 PSG. Some people were saying Inter Milan will win. Some people were adamant Inter Milan were winning. Some people were just, saying that, it's going to be a tight game. I was saying 2-1. I didn't think 5-0, guys. And again, I mean, PSG, man, what a team. Luis Enrique, what a manager. And the thing is, guys, I missed the first half, so I got back for the second, and I turned the TV on and I'm seeing 3-0. And I'm thinking, what, 3-0 in a final? Big up Daniela, big up Reluctant Killer. I'm seeing 3-0, guys. And I'm thinking, no way, yeah? And then having watched the bit that I watched, big up to Sham, 5-0. Big up Barbara Joseph as well. Guys, 5-0 in a final, and yeah, madness, absolute madness. I think starting off, as I said, I didn't see the whole game, I only see the second half, so I wasn't even aware of who scored the goals. I believe Hakimi got the first one. Desiree Doué, I think, got two. Kvaratskhelia and obviously young Mayulu getting the goal as well to make it 5-0. And guys, I've never seen a final with that. Is that Javier Pastore? Yeah, Javier Pastore, former PSG player, presenting the trophy. So guys, at the Bernabeu, PSG winning 5-0. And again, I've never seen a final as dominant as that. I didn't think PSG would score 5 against an Inter Milan defense like that. And again, I didn't see the first half, but from what I saw, you can just see that PSG's energy, their quality, the pace was just too much for an Inter Milan team that I think it's safe to say that this is the breaking up of the Inter Milan team. They're an aging team, and I think, as I said, this is the breakup of their team. And guys, listen up, for too many times I've been hearing, the French league is a farmers league. The French league is not really competitive, So many people shit on the French league and shit on their teams. This PSG team now, they're the team to beat, I think if you look at their lineup, and they're gonna strengthen as well. They've been linked to Franco Mastantuano, he's got a 38 million release clause as well. So they're looking to build for the future. And I'm telling you now, this team is going to take some stopping. Luis Enrique as well has now, he's now edged himself into being one of the greats. If you look at the list of one of the managers to win it with 2 different clubs, he's now in that list with the likes of Ancelotti and Pep Guardiola. So yeah, I think Luis Enrique, man, what a coach, what a manager. And he's just come to this club and he's just changed it all around, Who would have thought that PSG wouldn't be playing with a natural striker, And again, this is what coaching does for you guys, because it gets players that we're not really thinking of playing in certain positions, i.e. Ousmane Dembele. Who would have saw Dembele playing as a central striker? Because I never thought that was going to happen. And the way he plays that position, is ideal for him. It gets him more involved in the game. And again, he can use his link play, to create. Never scored today. But I think, there was conversation about who's going to be the Ballon d'Or winner. Guys, I think Ousmane Dembele has a strong chance to win it, if I'm honest, because that's a treble now that PSG have won, and he's got decent numbers as well. So I think Dembele is probably the outright favourite, if I'm honest. But let me know, guys, what you think. Guys, there's 6 of you. Sorry, baby, 1 minute. Guys, there's 6 of you in there and only 3 likes. Come on, let's smash that like button and help the channel to grow. Big up everyone for coming on earlier today as well. And again, big up for coming on coming on now as well. But yeah, where do Inter Milan go from here? I mean, they got beat on they got beaten to the title as well in the Serie A against they got beat by Napoli. So Napoli won the title, and they've been dealt a crushing blow um in the Champions League. And what looks so promising for Inter Milan, they've actually ended the season with no titles, because they got beat in the Coppa Italia as well. And where did their team go from here? There's been rumors that this is Simone Inzaghi's last game, as he's been courted by Al Hilal. And yeah, as Shams just said, he's been linked to Al Hilal. So I think it's possible that he could go there. And I think this Inter Milan team now, you would think, would need an overhaul. I look at their team, the likes of a Serbi, I think he could be done now. I mean, they've got Bastoni. Bastoni's is a very good player. He'll still be there. Denzel Dumfries, DeMarco, you'd expect them guys to be there. Barella. Lautaro, obviously the captain, could he still be there? But I think the midfield of Çalhanoğlu, Mkhitaryan, I think that will be revamped. So yeah, I think they're going to go through a period of transition for me, Inter Milan. But PSG, man, what a team. As I said, I didn't see the whole game. Big up to May Edits. So, you know what? I was just about to talk about this, Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe, I think it's fair to say that Mbappe was holding PSG back, the big name. Everything had to go through him. And I think it's safe to say now, them getting rid of Mbappe was an absolute masterstroke, And if you look at the team they've got now, and guys, this is what I want people to realize, This is the same thing that is happening at Man United in a different scenario. Man United have got someone in Bruno Fernandes, that majority of people would look at Bruno Fernandes as one of Man United's best players, if not the best player. But United are struggling. So this just shows you, if you get rid of a player that is perceived to be the best player or the superstar, you can make things work, because all you need to do is get a cohesive team, and they all play for each other, and there's no sort of superstar there. And this is exactly what PSG have done. They've got one of the best coaches, the best managers in the world, and they've got a team there of youngsters, that are only going to get better. And they've got a team there of just pure talent, And as I said, everyone that said Inter Milan, I said PSG. Did I think it was going to be this score? Nowhere near. I said 2-1. And for PSG to run out, comfortably 5-0 in the final, I think a lot of it as well just shows, I think you can say how weak Italian football is as well now, because as I mentioned earlier, this league is the so-called Farmers League, and look at what the best in that league has just done in a Champions League final to an Italian team. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. And Killer says Real Madrid is now the old PSG. If you look at PSG are just another version of Barcelona, because there's no surprising, obviously, Luis Enrique, former Barcelona player and coach. And the way that they play with that midfield three and with the front three, he's basically just instilled what he had at Barcelona in that PSG team. And you look at that PSG team as well, you've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world in Donnarumma. You've got the two best fullback pairing in the world in Nuno Mendes and Hakimi. Pacho, I can't remember how old Pacho is, but Pacho is a very good defender, underrated. And I think people, obviously, PSG fans will know how good he is, but I think people that don't really watch PSG too much won't realise what a good defender Pacho is, and he complements Marquinhos very well, because if you look at Marquinhos' partners before that, Presnel Kimpembe, who doesn't really play no more, obviously Sergio Ramos as well, Thiago Silva, But I think Pacho, in terms of being left-footed, in terms of his strength and his recovery pace, I think he suits PSG perfectly. you know, and you've got him and Marquinhos. Marquinhos being the oldest player there at 31. That combination there, that partnership is very good. Again, the midfield three is the best balanced three in the world, you would say. Vitinha is the best midfielder. He's one of the best midfielders in the world. And then you've got Fabian Ruiz and João Neves, who complement and offer their skill set as well to make that midfield three formidable. And then you've got Kvaratskhelia, one of the best wide players in the game. Ousmane Dembele, the same, one of the best wide players in the game, but has transitioned to playing as a false nine, you know, come striker. And then you've got the two young guns in Desiree Doué and Bradley Barcola, you know. And again, I didn't see the goals from Desiree Doué, but again, this is another guy, 19 years of age, you know, that is looking to compete with the likes of Lamine Yamal, you know, with the likes of William Esteval and many others to be one of the best youngsters in the game, you know. And this PSG team, as I said, guys, is going to go from strength to strength because they've been linked with Mastan Tuano. And it'd be interesting to see if they're going for a striker, you know, or who they can bring in to bolster that team. Because if you look at that PSG team, I can't think of anyone that is going to, you know, improve that team, you would say, in terms of being affordable and realistic. You know, obviously, a Lamine Yamal improves that team, no doubt, you know, but I'm trying to think who they can bring in that's going to take them forward. I think a lot of their players they might be looking at, you know, obviously they're probably going to be looking at a striker, you know, letting Gonzalo Ramos move on. And then they might go in for a, you know, an Osimhen or a Gyökeres or whoever, you know. Imagine a John Duran. Oh, no, I know he's in Saudi, but imagine a John Duran at that PSG team. You know, that would be frightening. But yeah, man, what a obviously I heard what a performance. You know, I didn't see the first half. Second half they were dominating. But what a result, man! 5-0 in the final. You know, I haven't seen that for years. You know, and again, you know, at the Bernabeu, home of Real Madrid. And just showing, you know, what a team they are, you know. Right, guys, I'm going to go through some of your comments. Big up to each and every one of you for coming on, you know. Only 8 likes, guys, so let's smash that like button. Let's try and hit 10 likes at least. And again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do. It's at GavGoesIn. And big up yourselves. And guys, also, Flawless is... his link is in my description, obviously, for the stream that we done yesterday. So give that a check, guys. And then obviously subscribe to his channel and go over there and give him some support as well, man. Had him on yesterday, you know, good chat. And yeah, big up Flawless, man, for coming on my channel yesterday. So Killer says, I changed mine before the game. He said 3-2 PSG. Yeah, listen, I said 2-1. You're saying 3-2. We were both wrong. 5-0, man. I can't believe it's 5-0, you know. And what a performance in the second half from what I see. And what a result, man. What a result. So Killer says they smashed them off the park. They beat the top teams, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Liverpool, City, and Inter Milan. Yeah, listen. Yeah, PSG, man. And if we remember, PSG almost didn't qualify, guys, because they were struggling to get through the group. And then something just clicked, you know. Obviously, bringing in Kvaratskhelia as well. And, guys, they were the outstanding team in this competition. And to win a final 5-0, I mean, yeah, that is just unbelievable, man. What a team. What a team. Yeah, Doué got 2. Oh, Doué got 2 goals and an assist. So also, Dembele got 2 assists. Right, Sham, listen. Remember I said it, yeah? I think Dembele wins that Ballon d'Or. You know, I think the fact that he didn't score, fair enough, but he got 2 assists, so that's going to add to the GA. You know, a treble as well. I want Yamal to win it personally, but I think Dembele is in with a shout, you know, and he's going to deserve it, to be honest with you. So we'll have to wait and see. I'll be looking forward to this Ballon d'Or to see who they give it to. But if we're going off of history on what they've done in terms of numbers and winning Champions League, Dembele has to get it for me, you know. But We'll wait and see. Killer says transfer window's open tomorrow. Okay, I didn't even know that. Oh, 1st of June, of course it is. Yeah. Okay, so guys, I believe now, yeah, this is when I think the transfer window now is going to start heating up. I mean, if anyone's got any news, transfer news from today, I mean, because obviously I've been out, so I haven't seen any news. So if anyone's got any news, make sure you put that in the chat and big up yourselves, guys. So Sham said PSG have spent so much money over the years to win this trophy, and now they've done it without the likes of Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi. Yeah, but listen, on paper, Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi, you know, that's three of the best players of their generation, you know. But you know, that them three together, them three playing was never really gonna work because you've got really three superstars that, you know, that have to have a team, really, you would say that is more or less doing their legwork, you know. Because you've got Messi again, you know, one of the best players to play the game. Neymar is probably arguably the best player of his generation. And Mbappe in this generation is obviously one of the top players of this generation as well. So the reason why this PSG team are so good, because they've got a midfield three there, you know, and again, when Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe was there, although PSG had Marco Verratti, who I'm a massive fan of, you know, was a great player. You know, I think this midfield three is probably more dynamic and suits the three that they've got a lot better, you know. And I think when they had Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi, you know, you had literally all three of them were behind the were in front of the ball. So which meant that PSG were defending with three man less because those three really were just tasked with, you know, just getting the ball to them and making things happen. And as I said, on paper it looks good, but in actuality, that team was never really going to win the major prizes when they came up against, you know, a solid team that were organised, because you can't have three players that are all the superstars in their own right, you know. So that's why this PSG team now is frightening, because they've got a team, you know, and they've just got quality like all over the place. And again, they've got money to spend, and you'd think they're going to bring in a couple of players. As I said, Franco Mastantuono, who's been linked with him, you know, and he's meant to be the next big thing coming out of Argentina. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. Enrique has won 2 trebles now, same as Pep. Yep, he has. And as I said, man, Luis Enrique, man, what a coach. You know, what a coach he is, man. And this is what I'm trying to say to you. You know, this is a guy that improves his players. You know, he improves his players. And, yeah, thoroughly deserves it, man. Big up to Luis Enrique. Yeah, touched this already. So Inzaghi has been linked to Al Hilal. Oh, he's been touted 30 million a season. Well, that means he's gone. Yeah, he's gonna go, man. To be 30 mil a season. Yeah, you have to go. And I think this Inter Milan team as well. I think they're on a decline now as well, because that team's gonna need investment in it, and you might see, you know, a couple of their players that are starters, and probably some of their best players. You might even see them. Move on. So I think Inzaghi for me has to take that Saudi offer, and you know, guys, come on. There's 12 of you watching. Okay, let's at least get 10 likes. You know, it's not too much to ask. Just press that like button. Okay, help the channel to grow. Not too much to ask, guys. Big up yourselves. So Sham says, what makes me laugh is that Enrique was linked to Man United back in 2022. You ended up getting Ten Hag, and Enrique ended up taking charge of Spain in the 2022 Qatar World Cup. Yeah, listen, Sham. Man United always make the wrong decisions. If it's not managers, it's players that they choose to get rid of and sign. So, yeah, Man United are in a shambles. They're a shambles at the moment. But as I said, man, I think Luis Enrique has done well, really, to swerve Man United, because I can only imagine what would it be like if he was there now. But the kind of players that he likes and the kind of way he wants to play, you know, it's exactly what I want to see with Man United, you know. And he's proof that, you know, if you've got a good cohesive team, you know, you will get results in the end. And to win a final 5-0, yeah, massive respect to Luis Enrique, man. And definitely one of the best managers in the world. Big up to Nick Fadley. Big up, Nick, for coming on again. So PSG are superbly good. They show how to play a final. Yeah, as I said, I've never seen a team win 5-0 in a final playing like that. You know, as I said, I missed the first half, but that second half, it was all PSG, man, and they should have scored more. You know, Bradley Barcola, and this is what I mean about Bradley Barcola. He does a lot of things right, but when it comes down to the final piece in terms of the finishing, he's a bit hit and miss. But he was a threat, man, and obviously he come on for Desiree Doué, and he definitely should have had a goal, man. But yeah, man, it should have been more. That's how dominant they were. Big up to Agnes 14ish. Big up. Big up to Matthias Trobersky as well. Sham says Marquinhos deserves the Champions League as captain. He's been there since 2013, not long after the Qatari takeover. Yeah, he's been there. He's their longest serving player, definitely, Marquinhos. And obviously he's their captain. I think he's the most experienced there as well. And yeah, he's finally got his hands on the Champions League, because if you look at Marquinhos, since he's been there, he's seen a lot of players come and go. And he's been the one constant. And to be fair, for him to get his hands on the Champions League finally, it's kind of like mission complete for him. And he's justified in staying there, because that team they've got there now, they're going to take some stopping, PSG. I mean, as I said, they've got... I don't see what they can bring in to improve that team. That's how good they are. I think if we're being picky, we're probably looking at possibly a striker, but then they've got 3 players that are wide players, really. And Dembele's been transitioned into a false 9, really. So, I think the only thing they can possibly do is if they get rid of Gonzalo Ramos, as I said, and then bring in a striker that gets goals. But other than that, their team really shouldn't be touched, because I think they've got arguably the best players, you would say, in every position, or top players, should I say. So, yeah, I can't see them changing too much. As I say, I think they probably go for more younger players, seeing how they develop in the future. Sham says Arsenal fans will have an excuse now and say they lost against the champions. Yeah, that's a loser's mentality. But yeah, as I said, man, PSG beating Arsenal, yeah. I mean, obviously, if you watch both legs, PSG were just in total control. And although, Arsenal had a few chances, PSG could have just gone into another gear. They were in total control in both legs against Arsenal. Killer says he subbed. Okay, big up. Big up to DXR. Yeah, DXR, man. I didn't see the game. I didn't see the first half. I see the second half. But yeah, man, as I've mentioned earlier, what a result, and from what I've heard, what a performance, and I think you're right. Mbappe must be looking now, thinking, I don't think he'll be thinking, too much in the lines of what have I done in moving to Real Madrid, but he must be thinking to himself, he's left, they've won. Was he the problem? But I think next season he's gonna want to try and recorrect that. But PSG have got better since he's gone, man. There's no denying that. They're more of a team. And as I said, Real Madrid have won nothing this season. And PSG have gone and won a treble. So madness. So Shab says Ballon d'Or is in the bag for Dembele now. He's won the treble. He's got goals and assists. He's smashed it. Yeah, listen. I'm saying this right now. I think Dembele has to be the favourite now. I think the fact that he had 2 assists in the final, they've won the treble, and the Champions League, and his numbers, I think he has to be the favourite for sure. But we will be there to see what happens. DXR says, goes to show, star players are not going to win you big trophies. Well, no, it's a team. I think someone earlier on my stream earlier today said they don't think that Ryan Cherky, I think something to do with Ryan Cherky's off-the-ball movement isn't good. But as I said, if you've got a cohesive team, and you've got a mercurial talent like a Cherky, just like PSG have mercurial talents in their team, but they've got players, again, that, you've got Kvaratskhelia, He's a very highly technical player, but he works, you know. Dembele isn't a workhorse like a Kvaratskhelia, but he will, you know, at times get back and, you know, help the team out and provide the quality going forward. You know, they've got a team, you know, and this is what I'm trying to say to you. If you've got a team and then you've got a mercurial talent that isn't, you know, someone that is going to do the dirty work, you know, this is why things like this work, because there's players there to cover that, you know, and then, you know, it's about having the right balance. And as I said, with the likes of Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, on paper, as I said, you've got a frightening front three there, but that was never going to work against the best teams, and it's been proven, you know. So yeah, big up Barbara, big up. Messi and Mbappe was not good. Felt like Mbappe wanted to be all eyes on him, get the goals, being greedy, etc. Well, I mean, if you look at when Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar were all playing together, I think Messi and Neymar were in double figures for assists for Mbappe. But if you looked at Mbappe in terms of how many times he assisted them, I think he was like single digits. I believe it was like 2. So, you know, I think Mbappe got to a status at PSG where, you know, he was French. Obviously, he's playing for the biggest French team in the league. You know, he's one of the biggest stars in world football. And I think, you know, it was a case where he wanted all eyes on him. And even though Messi and Neymar are bigger profiles than him and have done more in the game, Mbappe, you could say, was still a bit more selfish. But as I said, three very, like, I say 3 very good players. I mean, 3 great players, really. But yeah, it wasn't going to work against the better teams. Let's just say that. So DXR says Real Madrid coming back with hell next season. I mean, you'd like to think so. From what they've done in the transfer window so far, you know, Trent Alexander-Arnold on a free. You know, looking like they're wrapping up Alvaro Fernandez, Dean Howson as well. You know, I think defensively they're going to be a bit more sturdy, a bit more stronger. I don't think their business is done yet. I do think they might sign probably another couple of players, but I think definitely they're going to want to do something serious. Obviously, Xabi Alonso's coming in. Going to see what he does in the transfer window as well. But Barcelona winning the league title, winning the Copa del Rey as well. Real Madrid are going to want to, you know, try and wrestle that back. You would think. So, but yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can say Mbappe is going to be even more hungrier. I agree. Just going to see Hakimi's goal. Let me see this. Oh, what a move. Pass and move. Desiree Doué with an assist, yeah. Great goal. And that's what I'm saying. PSG, man, the way they play, you know, that is just reminiscent of the football that Enrique was doing at Barcelona. You know, he's got players that are, you know, one-on-one, devastating. And he's got a midfield there that just keep the ball and are tenacious in winning it back. Was that a deflection, the Doué one? Yeah, they're gonna take some stopping, man, definitely. Big up to DJ Savjay, says, yeah, I'm all good, bro, man. I'm all good, man. Big up for coming on. Yeah, big up for coming on. Big up to Will. Will says Ronaldo or Mbappe. I mean that's subjective, but I mean, what do you mean? What, in terms of a footballer? If we're looking at as a footballer, I mean, it's again, it's subjective. If we're looking at trophies won, Ronaldo. If we're looking at numbers, Ronaldo. If we're looking at the footballer, I mean, it's hard. It's not really a fair comparison, I would say, because, you know, it depends. It depends what we're looking at, really. Yeah, it's a hard one for me to say, you know, because again, Ronaldo at his best was a winger. You know, obviously transitioned to being a forward when he went to Real Madrid, and obviously became a lethal goal scorer, really. And Mbappe is more or less the same. You know, I don't like him. I think he's definitely a left wing player. You know, but obviously he's playing through the middle at Real Madrid. You know, Sham says it's just not Mbappe who's missed out after switching teams. I remember the same happened when Owen left in 2004, and then we won the Champions League the following year. Yeah, I remember that. Is that when the comeback against was it? No, I think that was after that. Actually, I could be wrong. Was that the comeback against AC Milan? You're talking about there. Ibrahimovic left Inter and then they won Champions that year. I can go on. Yeah, listen. Again, a superstar doesn't make the team. You know, the team is more important than one superstar. And as I said, I think this is what PSG have built. You know, they've just got a proper team there that are only going to improve. You know, and they're all at a good age as well. So DJ Savjay says, PSG showed Inter levels tonight, absolute class. They were tonight and deserved their win. PSG being the second French team to win the Champions League, and boy, they done it in style. Credit to Enrique, excellent manager. Yeah, listen, DJ Sav, man, I couldn't disagree anymore. Sorry, I couldn't agree anymore. Should I say, not disagree? But yeah, PSG, man, they've got a very good team, great manager, and as I said, man, to win 5-0 in the final, I think there's no doubting you deserved it, you know, because again, that's no mean feat against an Inter Milan team that have a defense as sturdy as what they have, and they're just being ripped apart, man, in the final at the Bernabeu. So was it the Bernabeu they were playing at? It was the Bernabeu, wasn't it? I swear it was the Bernabeu. I could be wrong. Guys, where was the final? Was it at the Bernabeu? I swear it was. Let me know. But yeah, they're just being ripped apart, man. Just watching the Mayulu go as well for the 5th. Yeah, man. Madness. So Sham says the only ever time a French team won Champions League was 93 when Marseille won it. Yeah, I hear that. Killer says, I wish Barca player Barcelona. Yeah. Do you know what? I was going to mention that, you know, and I think the fact that PSG have beat Inter 5-0 in this final, it makes it... Oh, 1 second. So... Okay, so PSG now have 2 players that are the youngest goal scorers in the final, Champions League final. Seny Mayulu and Desiree Doué. So the youngest player to score in the final was Patrick Kluivert. Seny Mayulu 2nd, Carlos Alberto 3rd, Desiree Doué 4th, Lars Ricken at 25th. So yeah, madness. But yeah, I wish it was Barca PSG now, because knowing that this game finished 5-0, it's a bit frustrating now knowing that Barca didn't beat Inter. And again, if anyone watched that game, that second leg, Barca should have gone through, but they gave it away with that high line that they were playing and not taking their chances, you know. And to think that Inter got beat 5-0, Barca definitely would have given them a different kind of final, man. And are we ever going to see that again? Who knows, you know. But DXR says, Gav, what the fuck was Amrim laughing at the press conference when Ahmad was asked about Garnacho? Yeah, I've seen that. I think he was laughing because you know, I think he knew what he was doing. I think he knew that the question about Garnacho was going to come up, and yeah, I think Amarim knew. I think Amarim knew what he was doing when he was laughing. But again, I don't really care about that, because at the end of the day, you know, it's obvious that Garnacho is going to be going, and so he should. So yeah, we have to just wait and see what happens with this transfer news, man. But yeah, I did see that, definitely. Killer says, happy for Hakimi and also Dembele. Yeah, 2 very good players. The XR says, also look at these Arab-owned clubs. City did bad. The chairman dropped a video explaining their plans, and the PSG chairman today literally delivered the Champions League. Yeah, listen, these guys they're not here to play about, man. You know, they're not here to play, man. They're here to take over. You know what I mean? And if you look at Khaldoon Al Mubarak as well, you know, the interview some of you must have seen already. You know, he's made it very clear that Man City have their targets, and you know, you can tell how confident he is that he's going to get over the line. And as I said, Man City and PSG, just expect them to be dominating Europe for the foreseeable, domestically and in Europe, because they've got owners there that are not going to accept second best, you know. And Man City had a terrible season last season, winning nothing. Their only saving grace really was getting into the Champions League. And as I said, you know, they're going to go on a spending spree, man, for me. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Okay, 2005 was the comeback in Istanbul, yeah. So, the PSG owner always had the Champions League in mind. His team have won it now. Yeah, that was their main objective, 100%. And as I said, that's been completed now. So, and how they've done it in that style, crazy, absolute crazy. But guys, listen up. It's only a quick one tonight. As I said, I went earlier live today anyway, and just wanted to touch. Obviously, just come on and talk to you guys about this Champions League final. As I said, I missed the first half, but you know, PSG running out 5-0 winners, and they're going to take some stopping. As Killer said earlier, you know, not Champions League, the transfer window opens tomorrow. And I think we're going to see some teams start making some moves now. I think we should all expect the Florian Wirtz deal to get over the line. I think that might happen tomorrow. I've been hearing that Bruno Fernandes, you know, Al Hilal have now given him till Friday to make a decision. Again, I don't really know why this is happening. I think it's going to just end up wasting time. But as I said, yeah, listen, DXR, man, it's funny you come out of that, man, because I don't know if you've noticed, man, my nose is itching. I've got hay fever, man. I've been sneezing all day. You know, it's been a mad one. I don't know what's in this air today, man, but it's been yeah, it's been bothering me a lot today, man. But yeah, as I said, big up everyone for coming on. Guys, you've only got 8 likes, and as I said, if you guys can smash the like button if you haven't done so already, at least get 10 likes, guys. And obviously 1,060 subs, you know, obviously on the road to 2K, you know, so I appreciate everyone's support once again, coming on and contributing to the chat. And I'm going to be back, guys. I mean, I haven't scheduled nothing at the moment, but if there's any news dropping about any players, about any players being moved on from Man United, etc., then I'll probably come on. But again, check out my schedule to see if I've got anything planned. And as I said, yeah, big up everyone for coming on, contributing. Smash that like button. Subscribe to my channel. Make sure your notifications, guys, are also on to see when I go live. And yeah, I'm going to catch you guys in a bit. Take it easy.